There's an article here from Zero Hedge. Jimmy Kimmel's audience numbers implode after brief spike. So he gets 6.5 million for his night back, right? But now he's averaged 1.77 million total viewers, down like a lot from 2015 highs, right? And in the demo, you're totally right. It's like in the 25 to 54 Thursday's episode, hemorrhaging 73% of viewers from that critical category off its high.
Wow.
Yeah, but remember, so Jimmy Kimmel's show doesn't exist to get ratings. Jimmy Kimmel's show exists to spread propaganda. So they do not
like
care.
Church.
They
For liberals.
Well.
I don't
liberal church. Yeah, exactly.
Right. They're fake religion.
So this is the, for your liberal boomers that still watch him, this is, they love it. They think it's the funniest thing ever. They think it's the greatest thing ever. They think they actually did something. And the fact that it loses money from Disney, by the way, which is, of course, one of America's most beloved institutions prior to the current ownership or current, managership, is, again, something they love. Because remember, they can never create. All they can do is corrupt and destroy. And so that's what they're doing, which they did also, by the way, to Jimmy Kimmel, who used to be great.
Let me fix that statement. It's anti-church.
Yeah.
Church being
It's
good.
an anti-church.
Now it's better. That's better.
I was like, where are you going, Tim? I was reaching for my rosary.
I mean to say that it is where they
you're joking. It's right
where
here.
they meet their fake high priests of their demonic sermon.
100%.
So we talked about
a sermon.
what we wanted to talk about
Yeah.
next. Yeah, what we want to talk about next is something that you've been keying in on, Tim, and that's Dana White and Joe Rogan. And I think it's a really fascinating kind of conversation that you're. Do you want to set the premise for us, and we can play the clips?
Sure. I excuse me. I have tremendous respect for Dana White. I'm a huge fan of his business acumen, let alone UFC. And Joe's a good friend who's really helped me out in my life and career personally. So I say this with all due respect. It is either that they are not actively paying attention, or they are deeply scared about what is happening to this country. And so, again, I don't say this with any derision. Dana White came out recently saying, we can't have this cancel culture over Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's wrong. And I feel like something to that effect, that people are losing their jobs.
I've got it right here.
I feel like that misses the big picture. Joe Rogan has a viral clip right now where he says he's surprised at so many people celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And the reason I bring that up is, I've been on Joe's show several times and talked to him explicitly about this. In fact, the Twitter episode ended with me saying I was going to go live in a van down by the river to avoid the coming civil war because of what they were fomenting on
That's when you were on with Jack
Twitter.
and Vijaya.
Yeah. The systems that they had built 10 years ago, I had warned about. So I'm surprised to see Joe is shocked by the celebration from these liberals. I'm wondering if there's actually more of a look. I'm just going to say it. I'm tired of being overly diplomatic to people when I have some critique of them, and I know there's so much that I owe Joe, but I do feel like he's saying these things because he's scared of what the left will do to him and his family, and so he's kind of walking things back and acting like, I had no idea.
Well, let's play the clip then. Here's Joe Rogan, play cut 99.
Yeah.
I never expected so many people would celebrate that man's murder.
That is evil. That's
Bizarre. It's just bizarre. Like normal people that I think they're good people. And they genuinely think that guy was a bad guy. And I don't think they're right. And I think they were indoctrinated. And I don't agree with everything that Charlie Kirk said or did.
I don't care if he was a bad guy or not.
He's not a bad guy.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see anybody die.
Joe's called them a cult before. So I know he just said they were indoctrinated, but I saw that and I'm just kind of thinking, I don't know how you spend as many years in the cultural space as you have and find yourself surprised, but I will cut him some slack. Perhaps what he means to say is, because I've experienced a little surprise myself, middle-of-the-road liberals who are relatively apolitical that I knew celebrating on Facebook that I was friends with. Maybe I should cut him a little bit of slack on that one. But as to the Dana White, the cancel culture stuff.
I haven't heard this.
Let's play this.
Okay, let's play cut 98.
I'm a big believer in free speech, and unfortunately, probably the most important speech to protect is hate speech.
You're not a fan of cancel culture?
No, I hate it. On both sides. It's like all the stuff that's going on with Charlie right now. These people are going out and saying stuff, and you're seeing people getting fired or kicked out of school.
You don't think they should be fired?
I think you're a disgusting human being if you're celebrating the death of another human being but people make mistakes and people are going to do dumb things. I don't like trying to destroy people's lives over doing something dumb.
Yeah, so I just drank a Form yesterday, and I'm like, I want to like throw up after. That's his energy drink. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing. That's literally the dumbest thing. So cancel culture is when you dig up someone's like old statements and try to get them canceled.
Like when you when you
like
when you
out
say
of
that
nowhere.
I don't think police
or
are
something
racist.
that someone said
or
in
just
private,
frankly, or at least if it's like something they say, like people just lost their jobs because they said like I don't think there should be riots. People lost their jobs because they said I think riots might hurt Democrats in the elections.
How about
people lost their jobs for that?
How about Vivek Ramaswamy? He didn't put an appropriate image on Instagram, and he got a letter from his like I can't remember
board,
the exact.
yeah,
his board
yeah,
wrote him a letter
board,
being
yeah.
like, "You weren't sufficiently angry over
yeah,
George
that's
Floyd."
not cancel culture at all. That's people saying, I don't want my have to bring my child to a doctor's office that has that doctor or has that nurse, or I don't want that person working in my HR department because you're celebrating
1000%.
someone's murder. That's totally different from cancel culture. It's not even in the same ballpark at all.
Honestly, you are correct, but I'm going to say this. I don't care, make it cancel culture, and I'll tell you why. The line for the left, and this is to your point that you're correct on, the line for the left is you said something that disagrees with our our non-theistic religion.
Yeah.
The right has said, don't push assassination culture any further. That's our line. My attitude is this. We are at a point where they celebrated the assassination of Brian Thompson, venerated this guy, the alleged assassin. Not even a year later, Charlie Kirk is killed. It has come home for all of us who have been begging for it to stop. I a couple weeks ago said, I won't call for these people to be fired, but I will not defend them. And Will Chamberlain said, you're too nice. I think they should be fired. I think they should be canceled because a society that tolerates the veneration of assassins and assassinations is a society that has opened the door to civil war. And immediately I said, you're right.
Yeah,
that's our line.
I'm on that way.
This isn't a principle thing. This is if we want the country to be saved kind of thing, you need to draw the line somewhere.
This is my energy, though. I am so on board with cancel culture. And by the way, one of the things that gave me strength in the immediate aftermath was seeing accounts like Libs of TikTok just like calling these people out, blasting them up. These tweets are going crazy. People getting fired. I was like, yes, because this is absurd that we would put up with this as a culture. You should be canceled. You are a disgusting, gross human being if you do that. And I don't care what happens to you at that point. I mean, obviously, I don't want physical violence against it, but I think you should lose your job. If I'm an employer and I find out that my employee is doing that, good riddance.
You're
Goodbye.
canceling them back. That's the key. You're canceling someone who is celebrating the literal canceling of the man who sat in this chair right here. And if you're going to celebrate that, then yeah, you should lose your job. You should lose your pension. You should use your rank if you're in the military, whatever it is. Lose it. Lose all of it.
What happens to our society when Dana White says it is okay for half the population to celebrate assassins?
Yep.
That's the only question that matters. So I know he said, people are going to be like, Tim, free speech matters. I say, okay, agreed. Now let's calculate that. Let's finish that equation. You have two distinct moral worldviews. One is celebrating assassins consistently now, over and over again. They're calling for more. My name is on that list. You'll get what you asked for. And so for me, liberal cancel culture was, did you offend our non-theistic religion? You're banned. My line is, when you advocate for the destruction of our political systems through murder, I say you should be excised from polite society. You can come back. Forgiveness is always available for those who perhaps give an act of contrition of some sort, because speech isn't the most. But if we say Jimmy Kimmel, tens of millions of liberals can go online and make money, get followers, build media businesses off of celebrating assassins, you're looking at Rwanda all over again.
Radio Rwanda. Yeah, so, and Andrew, the only thing I would just tweak to what you're saying is we don't celebrate cancel culture, but we will use counter cancel culture to end all of it.
Well, this is what Emily, one of our listeners, says. It's consequence culture, not cancel culture. Hey, guys, I'll offer you this alternative to cancel culture. It's not a matter of canceling them for their words. It's a matter of them suffering the consequences of their words.
That was their argument.
That is
the
their
whole time.
argument. Yeah.
Well,
And
I mean,
and-
listen, but like
we don't want to repeat their exact lingo because like
Correct.
that's
Yeah,
their
no, I agree.
justification for
No,
everything.
that's what-
I think
that's what I'm saying,
we should just be
counter
clear what
cancel
we're
culture.
doing.
Counter
This is
canceling.
this is a basically a singular exception, which is you are just not allowed to glorify political violence. Period.
I
So
don't-
here's the quote from Robert Jones. This is back all the way back in 2015, and this guy was like an SJW, and he said we can disagree and still love each other. This guy's like a liberal SJW type. We can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression, denial of my humanity, and right to exist.
yeah.
And that's when the talking stops.
Here's the philosophical reality is that when the right was talking about free speech, it was presented as a very binary choice for the average person, but there was always a depth to it. And that is, at what point would a conservative fire someone from their company for something they said? It always existed. I said
And
this.
Dana never has.
Indeed. I said this of my company during cancel culture peak or whatever. If someone at my company went on like a serious racist tirade, I'd fire them too. If they were posting things about how they were disparaging people of a certain race, I'd say, listen, you don't reflect our values. I don't know why you'd want to work with us. It doesn't represent what this company is doing. The issue, conservatives have a wide range of tolerance for ideas. You can see this in all the data. That is, if someone said something racist, you wouldn't be like, quick, get out of my company. You'd say, let's have a conversation about it and figure out why you're saying this. Often people would then say, you know what, maybe I was a little gruff. They wouldn't get fired right away. Tolerance was greater for the right. The left said no tolerance, even for jokes. Well, we found our cancel culture line. It is no one should be allowed to work in polite society when they're calling for the death of other people. That's a hard line.
And that's what was so radicalizing, I think, about it for people, that it wasn't just AOC and Ilhan Omar and Barack Obama who were smearing Charlie and death. It was regular people.
Yep.
Just your nurse, your HR director, people that you work, people in the military, people who fly airplanes. I mean, this is serious stuff. And if you've got people who've got the power of life and death literally in their hands every day, and that's what they believe, you realize how bad the brain rot has gotten in this country.
Everyone knows that even right now where we sit, there are things that if we said, it would destroy our professional careers.
Of course.
There's things you don't say. Conservatives tend to be honest and have always been about what we can and can't talk about. And liberals just said, we'll ban you if you defy us.